Welcome back, future Florida contractors. We're going to continue in this series, and today we're going to be going over chapters 3 and 4 in the Builder's Guide to Accounting. I think that chapters 3 and 4 are connected, and so that's why I'm going to go through them together. In my opinion, these two chapters are not as important as some of the other chapters in the book, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't go over them. There's still important concepts and topics that need to be discussed. So I want to make sure that we go over what I think is important, what I think is relevant, but still, like I always say, like I've said in pretty much in every one of my videos, I'm showing you what I think is important, but you are still responsible for all the content in the book. So make sure that you spend the time going over the information in all of these chapters, including chapters 3 and 4. I don't think there's that much content and there's that much information, so it shouldn't take you that long, but still make sure that you spend the time and go over it. So let's get into chapter 3. Let me see here. Chapter 3 starts on page 37, so we're on it right now. All right, cash and charge sales. The first thing I'm going to mention is on page 38, recording cash sales. List your cash sales by date so you can create summaries for general ledger entries. Fill out sales tax forms and make up other needed reports. Okay? Pretty common, pretty self-explanatory. On the next few pages, there's going to be some journal entries. You can look into this. Like I was saying before in the previous chapters, if you follow along with the content of the chapter, you'll be able to see what the journal entries and what the statements are all about. If you were just to open randomly to obviously to page 40 or 41 and you see what I'm seeing, it's not going to be easy for you to understand what you're looking at. But if you spend the time reviewing the chapter, as you can see, there's not that much information in this particular chapter so far. If you read what you're looking at, you'll be able to follow along, and it's really not that intimidating. Next, we're on page 43, accounts receivable. The real value of a good receivables method is in variety of information it provides. Information to bill customers, control collections, make general ledger entries, and build historical files. All right. Next, we're on page 44. Figure 3.6 shows manually prepared invoices and a billing statement. Invoices should show enough detail so your customer can identify the material and services and pay according to your terms. If you look through this chapter, they'll get into, in this chapter and other chapters in the future of the book, they're gonna go into terms and what those terms are. Page 45, tracking receivables. I think this is important, and you should probably read this whole section, but all I have here is the third paragraph in the second column. If retainages or similar withheld amounts become a major part of your receivables, set up a separate receivables account file for retainage in your general ledger. Page 46, control the collection of accounts receivable with an aging list, as in figure 3.9. See, it's telling you kind of what I was saying before. If you're reading the information here, you'll be able to follow along with what they're discussing. Builders who are in close contact with their customers may know quite well who owes them money, but an aging list can also provide necessary information and a written record of slow paying accounts. An aging list includes what percentage of total receivables, including retainages, is current and what percentage is past due. We may think that this is common sense, but still they're putting it in this book, so it may be something that comes up on the exam. All right, and that's pretty much for chapter 3. I mean, not a big chapter. It's really only a few pages. There's a lot of graphs here, and like I keep saying, you might want to take a look at these test questions, because the test questions are very, very similar to the kind of questions you can expect to see on the exam. So on page 51, are the test questions for chapter 3. Take a look at these, go over them. The answers are in the back of the book. All right, so now we're going to go to page 53, which is managing receivables. So in the previous chapter, chapter 3, they talk about accounts receivable. Here, you're moving into managing the receivables. We're on page 54. An excellent way to keep tab on collections is to prepare an account of receivables average length study as in figure 4.1. Page 55. Stay on top of existing accounts, but there's another important part of the receivables equation. Prior qualifications of new charge customers, okay? Figure 4.2, and that's on the next page, is a credit application. Make it a company policy not to extend credit unless there's an application on file. So they're mentioning that on page 55, and on page 56, they're showing you what an actual credit application may look like. I remember on my exam, that is a question that I had where I don't remember the exact wording of it, but I do remember where they asked me about what kind of information I could expect to see on a credit application. So if something like that was to come up, you'll be able to find an example of a credit application, and you'll be able to see what kind of information may be asked. Okay, I think it's a very, very simple and easy question. So if you get something like that, that's great. That's just basically like a freebie to me. Next, we're going to page 59. It may help to offer incentive discounts such as 2%, 10 days net 30. That means the customer can deduct 2% from the invoice when payment is sent within 10 days of the billing date. This is a standard arrangement for shops that offer discounts, and it seems to bring payments in quickly. The obvious disadvantage is 2% loss, but consider the cost of doing without those funds for 30 days or more. It may be worth much more than 2% discount to collect 90% of your receivables promptly. This is just kind of like, it's a rule, but it's also, it's not, I don't think it's actually a rule, but it's really more of a suggestion that you might want to follow. I think it makes sense. They're just basically talking about giving your customers an incentive to pay on time or to pay early, okay? This way everybody wins. You get your money faster and they get a break. And that's it. Like I said, super easy. Chapters 3 and 4. There's not that much information for us to cover. It's just what you may encounter is just questions regarding terms and definitions, which in my opinion are just gimmies. Those are super easy questions. You really shouldn't have too many issues. Test questions start on page 60 for chapter 4 and go into 61. Answers are in the back, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, chapter 3 and 4, easy. Spend some time reviewing it, but I don't think you need to spend too much time reviewing these two chapters. They're mostly self-explanatory. If you've got any questions or comments, definitely let me know. Otherwise, thanks for your time, and I will see you in the next video.